you see him? That's Sam Sulek, a fitness YouTuber who became super popular in the last year. The thing is, he's only 21 and already on lots of substances, which is a huge concern. But recently, Jeff said that Sam trains with partial reps.
Why is Sam Sulek doing half reps? Is this actually effective for muscle growth?
And that training that way builds more muscle than a full range of motion.
And no studies favored full ROM.
But is it true what Jeff said? And what about the situation that Sam's in? And what about your situation? Wait a second with the needle, let's begin. What's up guys, welcome to your Fitness Pal, and remember him? We showed you this guy a couple of weeks ago. He did a push-up and dislocated his elbow. But it's nonsense, and we explained why right here. But what makes his specific push-up special is this.
No, not the dislocation, rather the range of motion.
Most people will perform a push-up with a full range of motion, from the bottom to a full lockout. But he did a little extra range of motion. He went to a full lockout and then continued more.
But hypermobility aside, it's not an actual increase in range of motion because anatomically the chest muscle doesn't insert to the elbow. There is another option to increase the range of motion during a push-up, which is to take two handles and then instead of going until the chest touches the floor, you go even farther down.
But there's a problem. Do you see him? That's Sam Sulek, a fitness YouTuber that became very popular in the last year. Now, Sam is only 21 years of age. Looks 31, but only 21. And as you can observe, he's not natural. One of the side effects of the substances he takes you can see on his own body, the acne. And also according to the size he has reached, it can be assumed that he is on a prescription that does not embarrass a whole floor of a surgical department.
I'm gonna be back in 1 second. I actually need to get some fucking help.
And we say that out of concern.
Sam is only 21 years old, and we know that the usage of anabolic steroids can be related to premature death. And that's a bummer to whoever wants to live. For those who stayed alive, we can also see a potential in structural remodeling to the heart muscle, like ventricular hypertrophy and contractile dysfunctions. This is why when you look at the causes of death, you see that the chance of dying from cardiac events for the average bodybuilder is 1.5 times greater than the average American person.
But let's put that aside. Since Sam was officially published, a lot of YouTubers said that it's his fault that a lot of teenagers nowadays hop on steroids.
Guys using steroids younger than ever before. But I do believe that the influence of Sam Sulek are making steroid abuse more prevalent than ever before.
But with all of this trend against him, it's simply not true.
Regardless of Sam and before he even became Sam-lebrity, you could have still seen this trend. The search for ab workout in the past 7 years is only in a downward trend. The search for SARMs at the same period of time has only skyrocketed. The title of this article was "I want it all and I want it now."
Why? They asked approximately 1,000 athletes from different countries as the same age as Sam's why to use anabolic steroids. And that was one of the most popular answers. I want it all and I want it now. And the article was published in 2017 when Sam was 15.
And this is why you can't only blame one person. If it wasn't him, it could have been someone else, or someone else, or someone else.
We got the testicle!
But he can contribute to the situation. When kids/teenagers compare their bodies to his and they want to look like him and at the same time they feel less good about themselves, then they can turn to the usage of anabolic steroids. And that's indeed what we see in research. But it's not because he deliberately told them something, rather the psycho-environmental influence on themselves.
But we'll get to this topic later. Training. Sam sometimes trains with a partial range of motion. What does that mean? You can see that right now on the screen. But I'll let him explain.
What Sam is doing is called long length partial, which is where you do reps at a muscle's most stretched position.
The only problem is that this winter fitness TikTok influencers didn't catch bronchitis or sinusitis, but rather copying Jeff Nippertitis, because this video is copied word for word, of course without any credit, from Jeff Nippert's video. From the very first line,
Why is Sam Sulek doing half rep?
Why is Sam doing half rep?
to the second line,
Is this actually effective for muscle growth?
Is this even good for muscle growth?
and even what Jeff said that he does in his workouts,
In my own training, I use them on my last set of pull downs.
the other guy said that he does in his workouts.
In my own training, I still do full range of motion set.
Although copying is one thing, but understanding what you're copying is another.
Jeff's video isn't precise. Jeff notes that there are 5 studies.
There are 5 studies on long-length partials.
But that's not precise. Only 3 of them are actually relevant to what he said. One was on the calves. Long lengthened partials and the leg press machine, as you can see now, increase the size of the calves more than a full range of motion, which is crazy. The second study was on the quadriceps. Long lengthened partials doing knee extensions, as you can see now, increase the vastus lateralis and rectus femoris overall on average more than a full range of motion, which is also crazy.
The third one isn't an official study yet, but it was presented in a conference, and we're going to expand on the topic in future videos. But that's it. We don't have 5 studies.
There are 5 studies
Because the other 2 didn't compare full range of motion to long length partial. And you can see that if you read the full text. One was on the leg press, which Jeff showed on his video, but the partial range of motion was negligible and the full ROM wasn't really a full ROM. It's all written in the full text, 10 pages, knock yourselves out. The second one was the Goto study, which was on the triceps, but it wasn't a long lengthened partial, rather a middle ranged partial. And that's the difference between the 2. Long lengthened partial, middle lengthened partial, long length, middle length, long length. That study is also 20-something pages, which will also be in the description. You're welcome to read it with your morning coffee.
In the bottom line, as of today, there are only 3 studies that show that long lengthened partial builds more muscle than a full range of motion. This is why the exercise that we showed at the beginning of the video can be a great example. Push-ups in the stretched position, when we are achieving an extra stretch without being at the top position that shortens the pecs. Or a bench press with a cambered bar, when you can go a little bit extra at the negative, instead of a straight barbell where you can't. Or after a failure, for example, doing a fly and then performing long lengthened partials, as you can see in the video next to me.
Now, in Jeff's video, people wrote in the comments that Sam is on steroids, the technique doesn't matter, he could carry a bag of groceries around all day and grow more than any other natty gym rat out there.
Can I do 4 double cheeseburgers and a large fry?
Which is true, but also not true.
It's true because in Bassin's famous study, those who injected steroids and didn't train built more muscle than those who trained and didn't inject.
But it doesn't mean that Sam doesn't train hard, or that he doesn't have good genetics, or that he can't even maximize more muscle growth like the other study says. But when taking anabolic steroids, injuries of that type are more common, especially with the kind of technique and load that Sam is using. And you know what's grotesque? In this study they followed several weightlifters who had a torn pectoralis major tendon due to a bench press. They followed them up to a year and a half post-injury, and one of the participants who also used anabolic steroids died from a heart disease even before the study was completely over. Which leads us to the last topic. It's important for us that you know that not all bodies that look healthy from the outside are necessarily also healthy from the inside. Now, generally, each and every one of us can do whatever he or she wants with his or her own body. But nowadays, more and more teenagers are perturbed by their own look more than ever. They are being sold a lot of false dreams and shortcuts, and are being played on their initial naivety, instead of giving them the tools to work smart, healthy, and evidence-based, and achieve a healthy body and result, slow and steady, and not quick and stupid.
We also know that the use of anabolic steroids is linked to more anxiety, lower body satisfaction, anger issues. Also, a larger proportion of anabolic steroids users has attempted suicide compared to non-users. So, if you're in a bad place in terms of body satisfaction, you better work on yourselves first, mentally and physically, instead of going bad places physically and mentally.
The sentence that is supposed to be written on your ceiling next to your fitness pals, you're amazing, is working out because you love your own body, not because you hate it. Don't forget to like the video, share with all of your friends because this video can even save a life. Subscribe to the channel, smash the notification bell so you can get the latest and greatest from us, and we'll see you in the next video that will be even crazier than this one. Bye bye.